This meal, some collard greens, mustard greens, black-eyed peas, and cornbread. So to start with, our collards and mustard greens will be cooked in this pot, and as you can see, we have bacon slices in there. We're going to fry those up, get the grease going, and then there'll be some other things added. Into the garden this morning, I did still have a few collards left. They're kind of small leaves, but it's kind of what's left. I mean, it's been in freezing temperature now for about a week at night, so they've really stopped really producing heavily. But these will be good. And then, unfortunately, on the mustard green side, I had to buy those. I didn't have any fresh. When I looked at the produce there at the store, I really didn't care for the mustard greens that they had. They seemed to be wilted and maybe even almost frozen. So I decided to go with the bag. So to begin with, we're going to wash our collards. So what I'm doing now is I finished washing the collards. We're going to take some of the tough stems out. These are pretty tender little leaves here, as you can see. I'm not really stripping the whole thing out. I'm just going just the thick part. And I'll show you how we roll them and cut them. So we're back and we've got some more ingredients that we're going to put into our collards and mustard greens. We're going to start with 4 cups of chicken stock. We may have to do more, but we'll start with that. Pour that into the bacon and the bacon grease. And also, I'm sorry I got corrected, that was only 2 cups of chicken broth. So we could use up to 4 cups. And then we have vinegar, 4 tablespoons of vinegar. And add that. And then red pepper flakes. We're going to start with 1 tablespoon of red pepper flakes. I like my stuff spicy anyway. But anyway, add that. And then we're going to bring that to a boil. And while that's coming to a boil, I'm going to go back over here to the sink. And we've already got the mustard green and the collard greens washed. But I need to finish up the collards. The mustard greens, of course, came out of a bag. They're already shredded. Everything's good to go there. They've been cleaned thoroughly. And what we'll do is we've washed the collards. Bring these over to the table. And then we'll cut these up. So, a lot of people will take the stems and just shred them. That's something I normally do. But these are smaller, and I didn't do that. I took out the woody stems, and I'm going to take these and just roll them. Just take a good size of them, just roll them. And when you get it rolled up, you'll just slice it like that. And that's how we will add them to the pot. So we've got a good supply for the winter. And the final stack rolls up. Kind of cut them up in a bite-sized type piece. And there you go. So once the stock over here starts coming to a boil, we'll start adding our collards and mustard greens. We'll be back. So we got the water's boiling, as you can see there, and we thought about it a little bit, and we're going to actually add another cup of chicken stock to it. So that's 3 cups now that's been added to it. instead of the original 4 cups that I said in the beginning. Another thing that you can do that we didn't do here is add onion to it. And you would want to do your onions, you'd want to slice up your onions, dice them up however you like them, and do that when you were cooking your bacon in the bacon grease to saute them. So at this point, of course when I put that in, it took away the boil, but I'm going to go ahead and add some collards and some mustard greens, bring it back to a boil. I'm probably just going to add about half of these until it cooks down. We'll add about half of the mustard greens. And I don't know if you're familiar with mustard greens. I haven't eaten mustard greens in many years, and I just tried a piece of raw. Oh my gosh. It has very peppery taste to it, which I think I'm really going to like. So I'm going to go ahead and add all of these mustard greens. It looks like they're going to fit okay. And we'll just push those down, get them down in that hot liquid so they can cook down. It looks like they're already reducing, so I might be able to get the collards in here also. And I hear it boiling, so it's just about the right time to do so. So I am going to add the rest of the collard greens. So they'll all cook at the same time. And what I want to do is I want to bring my collard greens up to a good boil. And then I'm going to reduce the heat to more of a simmer type boil. I found that if you cook collards on a high heat, a high boil, that they'll just cook down and they lose their texture. But what I want to do is cook them just before they get to that point. You want them done, you want them to be soft, but you don't want them to be mushy either. So, okay, here we are back with the collards and mustard greens. We got a good rapid boil going on in there now. And this is the point where I was talking about, is turning your heat down. So I'm going to turn it down about halfway just to kind of see where the boil ends up at. So I want a slight boil, but not a rolling boil. More of a simmer type. And once I achieve that, I'll probably cook these another 30 minutes, check them again, and they may actually be done at that point. But like I said, the collards were really tender coming out of the garden, and they were small batch, I guess you would say. They're not real big broad leaves. The mustard greens that I haven't cooked in many years, looks like they cook rather quickly. So I think I've got this down to a boil that I would like to, maybe a little bit lower. I'm almost at between medium heat and low. And I think that's going to do. That's where I'm going to leave it for a moment. Come back in a few minutes, cover it, check it, make sure it's not boiling too heavily. So here I'm back in the kitchen again, looking at the collards. That's the kind of boil that I'm talking about. Just a little simmer-like boil. And my gas stove is actually almost on low. So I'm going to simmer like this probably for another 20-30 minutes, and I think the collards will be done. So as we come to the end of the video, you can see the collards have finished cooking. Also shows you that I put some black-eyed peas with it also. So now it's just time to sit down and enjoy eating. Thank you. See you guys later.